We are Onyx Imaging. We are the highest rated and most reviewed printer service center in Oklahoma.
Hi, my name is John with Onyx Imaging. Today we're going to be taking a look at this HP P4015. We're going to show you the common causes for a paper jam. So if you keep getting repetitive paper jams, there's a couple things I would look at. The first place I would start is your paper drawer. So we'll take out the paper drawer just to make it easier to see. So one of the common problems is if when you put in your paper, you have to be really careful. It's a really common mistake that you're in a hurry most of the time when you're using the printer anyway. And if you're just going to throw a bunch of paper in, if there was any paper still left in the printer, and if it starts building up where it's either curling back behind the rest of your paper or in front, so it's not sitting inside the printer correctly. I've seen that in I don't know how many paper drawers that I've looked at on service calls. It's going to cause it to be too tight and it's not going to pull paper through the printer correctly. So you want to make sure that whenever you install paper into your printer, that you take out all the paper, make sure it's all squared off, and it's all sitting there nice and neat. There's a reason it's squared off. You want all the paper to sit in there where it's fitting the way it's supposed to. The next common one inside the paper drawer is every printer is going to have some sort of a paper size adjuster. So you want to make sure that it's set to whatever paper size you're using specifically. So most of the time it's going to be letter or 8.5 by 11. You want to make sure that all the years are set on the markings for whatever size you're using. So in our instance, we got everything set to letter. If you have it on the wrong paper size, it could either make the printer think that you have a larger paper size in there and that can cause it to jam, or it could just throw out, it may be too loose and it's not grabbing paper and pulling it through the printer correctly. The next common problem for the paper drawer is your rollers. So if you look at your rollers, there's one here and there's two actually inside the printer. If they're starting to look kind of glossy and shiny or smooth, then it's probably time to replace them. They should have some texture to them, and we can do another video on that later. But those are your common causes for a paper jam and a paper tray. And one thing you want to keep in mind as well is the path that the paper moves through the printer. So in this printer, the paper actually gets pulled up the front, comes back, and out the top that way, so it makes kind of an S pattern. And the reason you want to know that is because whenever possible, if you do have a paper jam, you want to try to remove the paper in the direction that the paper would always move. If you pull against the natural path of the paper, there's a possibility it could catch on a paper sensor and you could potentially break something else. It's a much bigger problem to fix. So whenever you can, you want to make sure you remove the paper in the direction the paper would naturally follow. So again, that's going to be from the paper drawer, it's going to kind of come up, go back, and it's going to loop back around and come out the top. So just want to keep that in mind, so whenever you do have a paper jam, again, you're pulling in the right direction. So we've covered the paper drawer. The next place is going to be underneath the cartridge. So if you remove your toner cartridge, it's very common to find paper jams somewhere here in the top. Sometimes right at the top of the paper feed assembly, and sometimes you find them kind of sitting back behind the cartridge. You just want to make sure you remove those, and that could be, there's actually a lot of scenarios, but sometimes it could just be as simple as a bad cartridge. So you might want to try another cartridge if you have one, just to make sure that that's not the one, or that's not what's causing your problem. And again, whenever you do find paper, you want to try to make sure, again, you're removing the paper and the path the paper would naturally follow. I'm going to reinstall the toner. So that's the second common place to find a paper jam. The third is actually going to be in the back by the output assembly of the printer. So if you move this door down, I'm going to take it off just to make it easier to see. It's really common to find paper somewhere sticking out of here, or kind of where it's looped back through the output assembly. So this is actually your fuser, and it's really common to find papers jammed in the fuser or coming out of the fuser. And so if you do, you just want to make sure you move it out towards you, because the paper is going to be coming out, up, and back up the top. So if you find any paper there, then it could be a potential sign that you have a bad fuser. And it might be time to get that changed out. But those are probably the three most common places to find a paper jam. Again, they're really simple just to look at. It's not always going to be one of those things, but more often than not, that's one of the common causes to find it. If that's not taking care of it for you, feel free to give us a call and we can help you locate what's causing that jam and maybe help with any needed repairs that your printer may have. Other than that, you should be back up and printing. Have a good day.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested in how you can receive free labor on all of your service calls, as well as how to qualify for free printer upgrades, contact us today. We are here for all of your printer and office supply needs.